Hi, I'm Micah Ballard. I'm at City Lights Bookstore in San Francisco, and I'm reading from the passage from Our Lady of the Flowers by Jean Genet. This book was challenged for various means, but the main one was because of its obscenity. I'm reading towards the end of the book. It is absolutely essential that I come back to myself, that I confide in a more direct way. I wanted to make this book out of the transposed, sublimated elements of my life as a convict. I am afraid that it says nothing about the things that haunt me. Although I am striving for a lean style, one that shows the bone, I should like to address to you from my prison a book laden with flowers, with snow-white petticoats and blue ribbons. There is no better pastime. The world of the living is never too remote from me. I remove it as far as I can with all the means at my disposal. The world withdraws, until it is only a golden point in so somber a sky that the abyss between our world and the other is such that the only real thing that remains is our grave. So I am beginning here a really dead man's existence. More and more I prune that existence. I trim of it all the facts, especially the more petty ones, those which might readily remind me that the real world is spread out 20 yards away, right at the foot of the walls. Among my concerns, I rule out those most apt to remind me that they were necessitated by an established social practice. For example, tying my shoelaces with a double bow would remind me to think sharply that, in the world, I used to do that to keep them from coming undone during the miles of walking I did. I don't button my fly. To do that would oblige me to check on myself again in the mirror or when I leave the can. I sing what I would have never have sung out there, for example, that frightful "We're the ones who remote being lousy and tough," which, ever since I sang it at La Roquette when I was 15, comes to mind every time I go back to prison. I read things I would never read elsewhere, and I believe in them. The novels of Paul Féval. I believe in the world of prisons, in its reprehended practices. I accept living there as I would accept, were I dead, living in a cemetery, provided that I lived there as if I were really dead. But the diversion must be based not on the difference between the occupations, but on their essence. I must do nothing clean or hygienic. Cleanliness and hygiene are of the earthly world. I must feed on the gossip of the law courts, must feed on dreams, must not be dandyish and bedeck myself with new ornaments other than a tie and gloves, but must give up being smart and trim, must not want to be good-looking, must not want something else. Must use another kind of speech, and must think that I've been in prison once and for all, and for eternity. That's what is meant by building a life, giving up Sundays, holidays, concern about the weather. I was not surprised when I discovered the practices of prisoners, the practices that make of them men on the margin of the living, cutting up matches lengthwise, making cigarette lighters, smoking 10 to a butt, walking round and round the cell, and so on. I think that hitherto I bore that life within me secretly, and that all I needed was to be put into contact with it, for it to be revealed to me from without in its reality. But now I am afraid. The signs pursue me, and I pursue them patiently. They are bent on destroying me. Didn't I see on my way to court 7 sailors on the terrace of a cafe, questioning the stars through 7 mugs of light beer as they sat around a table that perhaps turned? Then a messenger boy on a bicycle who was carrying a message from God to God, holding between his teeth by the metal handle a round, lighted lantern, the flame of which, as it reddened his face, also heated it. So pure a marvel that he was also unaware of being a marvel. Circles and globes haunt me, oranges, Japanese billiard balls, Venetian lanterns, jugglers' hoops, the round ball of the goalkeeper who wears a jersey. I shall have to establish, to regulate, a whole internal astronomy.